What time is it?
It's time for art!
Hey, welcome back, second and third grade. What we are going to do, we're going to do a unit on a still life. A still life is a work of art depicting inanimate subject matter, things that don't move, things that are still. Typically, a still life is something an artist would set up in a room and then copy it. A lot of times artists use flowers. A lot of times, typically, artists use food. I'll talk about why they use what they use later. Since it's the fall, I want our still life to be a cornucopia. A cornucopia translates into horn of plenty. A cornucopia is like a basket. I think it's a poorly designed basket because it doesn't stand up. It doesn't have a bottom. It's really shaped like a horn. And what you're supposed to do is, fill it with vegetables and spill it on the table and they all spill out. It is a great Thanksgiving decoration. So we're gonna do this in conjunction with Thanksgiving. And all the food and everything that spills out of it, that's going to be part of our still life next week. Today, since your cornucopia is basically a basket, we are going to weave. If you're weaving a basket, you're going to use very skinny pieces of wood that you could find like in branches or vines, and you weave back and forth, over, under, until you fill up the whole thing. What we are going to do is a paper weaving. So what I want to start with is a brown piece of construction paper. I am going to fold it in half, and I'm going to measure down about 1 inch from the top of the fold, or at least, the width of the ruler, and I'm going to draw a line. We do not want to cut past that line. On that line, I want you to write your name, your class code. I want you to write your name and your class code. If you got room, you could write what day you come to art. Along the bottom of the fold, the spine of the fold, I want you to measure out 1 inch increments. I measured 8 inches on a 9-inch piece of paper, so I'm going to have 8 lines. And what I'm going to do is connect those lines from the spine to the top where my name is, and then I'm going to cut along those lines with my scissors, but I gotta remember not to go past the line where I wrote my name. Ta-da! There it is, it's cut. Now some kids usually play with it. They treat it like it's a lantern. They treat it like it's the mask of a knight in shining armor. Some kids hold it up like a grass hula skirt. But no, this is the basis of our weaving. The parts that you weave that go from left to right is called the weft. That's easy to remember, weft to right. But it's weft, W-E-F. The parts of your weaving that go up and down are called the warp. If you were weaving a scarf, this would be with fabric and cloth. We would call this a warp string. Now to make mine look like a basket, I'm going to use more brown paper. I'm going to start weaving under the first warp and then over the second warp. And then under and over, under, over, under, over, under, over, until I reach the end. The first one is the easiest. The second one becomes a little bit trickier. You're doing the exact same thing, but the opposite. I am going to start my weaving over the warp string, and I will go over, under, until I reach the end. If you've done it right, it should look like a checkerboard. And all we're gonna do today is just continue weaving over, under, until we have filled up this entire piece of paper. Make sure that you push your weft paper down, pack it in tight so you can fit as many as you can. To make it look like a cornucopia, we just have the illusion of a cornucopia. I'm going to take a big piece of construction paper. I've got a cornucopia tracer. I am going to trace the cornucopia on the cornucopia tracer, and I'm going to cut that out. But I need to cut it out from the inside. I need my blue piece of paper, or whatever color construction paper you have. I need that to have a hole in the shape of a cornucopia. After you've cut out the hole in the shape of the cornucopia, that's when I want you to glue your weaving on the back of that paper. and the weaving should show through. And if you've done all of that today, we've got the beginnings of our cornucopia still life. We'll finish these next week with seasonal leaves and seasonal fruits and vegetables, and this will look great. See you next time. Bye. I've drawn the mural in blue line pencil. I added details with a regular graphite pencil. I added more details with the ink pen when I traced it. I scanned it in the computer and colored it, and I have put it all together in a proposal. That was for the first 9 weeks. Second 9 weeks, I hope, fingers crossed, that we can go further with this. I'm going to type an email and send the proposal as an attachment and see what we get. Whenever I type an email or pitch something to somebody, I try to be as thorough as I can be. I type it in a Word document so I can edit it easier, cut and paste my strongest arguments in the appropriate places, get all my ideas down, make sure that whoever I'm working with or want to work with knows what I'm planning so that they don't have any questions, or any questions that they do have, I definitely have the answer for. So I try to be very thorough every time I pitch a project. And send. So my pro tip to you is, if you're ever pitching a project to somebody, make sure that you are thorough. Oh, let's see what they said. Bonus points! Second and third grade, welcome back. Today we were making a cornucopia. We were weaving it in the style that the Pilgrims would have made. What I wanted you to do is look up and tell me when the first Thanksgiving was. But records of that are kind of not great, so that's more complicated than it should be. However, Thanksgiving wasn't always a national holiday that we had off. So I want you to tell me which president was the president that made Thanksgiving a national holiday. Okay, see you next week. We'll finish up our cornucopia still lifes. Bye.